Hi, my name is Pastor Stephanie Lape. I serve in ministry at Cross and Crown Lutheran Church in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Hope you're all doing well. Something is happening in our nation right now that's just sparking a lot of thought in me, and I think in a lot of people of this nation, and that is this political season and the debates going on between those running for president and vice president. Now, I don't get too into partisan politics, and I'm hoping that you and I and all of us will vote when we vote. I think it's a great thing to vote. I know a lot of, particularly women, have suffered and struggled a lot for me personally to get to do that. And I hope that we, as people of faith, use our faith as a guide and vote according to our conscience. So, as a spokesperson for the church, I try to not speak as much about partisan stuff because what I'm trying to speak about has to do with issues that'll go far beyond this current government, whatever the next 4 years will be. What I try to talk about are timeless spiritual truths that are going to be true 100 years from now and 1,000 years from now, things that will last forever. And so that's not to say you shouldn't talk about politics. Go ahead and do that all you want to, but that's just not as much of an interest for me. However, sometimes things happen from the political scene that spark my imagination and some thoughts going on. And I believe that the church should be a moral voice. And as a spokesperson for the church, that is part of what I have vowed to do, to be part of that moral voice. And what I'm thinking about these days is how these debates are going. And the debates are fascinating. They're interesting. Even studying it like a debate coach would study it. You know, I was in school and I took some speech classes, and I did not personally take debate. Some of my family member did, but I remember some of the rules of debate and speech. And so I'm seeing now often people talking over one another, people arguing with one another, and I really want to hear on both sides of the aisle people finishing their sentences and actually, saying a complete thought before whoever's on the other side jumping in and talking over them and sort of like shutting them up by talking over them. But even more than that, I really want to encourage you and all of us to find your voice and to use it. Now, sometimes that means being the only one in a room with the opinion that you have. And when you study sociology, you see how hard that can be when you're in a group to think a dissenting thought, to even more so verbalize a thought that's different from the group. We stand back and say, how on earth could Germany and much of the world just allow the Holocaust to happen and millions of people to die? But when you study sociological phenomena, what you see is that it's very, very difficult to be that lone thinker or speaker in the room saying something contrary to what the entire group is saying. A lot of fear comes up, a lot of the power of persuasion comes up, and there are all kinds of reasons, consciously and unconsciously, that people don't speak up if the whole group is saying one thing that might be different from what that other person wants to say. So I want to encourage you to please remember that you have a voice, you have a unique story, and we really, really need to hear it. And I hope to imbue some encouragement to you, some even persuade you. Please use your voice. Now, that is if you're on any side of the political aisle, that is if you're male or female, that is no matter the color of your skin or your profession or your sexual orientation or any other defining label that you or others might use. Sometimes in different groups in society, we're made to feel like our voices are less than other people's. And in the eyes and the mind and the heart of God, that's just not true. All people have a story, and you are literally impoverishing the world if you withhold that story from us. We need to hear your story. We need to hear your perspective. I've said this before several times. I just love this, that Abraham Lincoln had what he called a team of rivals, where he surrounded himself with people who thought differently from him, and some thought like him and some thought otherwise. And he liked that because he got to hear a variety of voices from a variety of perspectives and gifts and talents, and that sharpened his thinking. He didn't want to hear just from people that were exactly like him. And most of what we do, all of us, is we live in these echo chambers surrounding ourselves by people who think just like we do. And so therefore it just feeds more and more of the same kind of empathy toward this group and not that group, the same kind of bias towards these people and not those people. So we're all in our little private echo chambers of thought that's just hearing our own voices back to us over and over, and we're not thinking beyond that and outside of that. So I think it's important that we have friends and that we have family, not that are going to hurt us or be so deeply offensive that, it's going to destroy us. I keep myself away from people that are toxic, absolutely. But it's also helpful to hear other voices and other perspectives if people can be respectful in saying it. So not only do I think that it's important for us to each use our voice, but to hopefully be kind in doing so. As a pastor in the church, I'm called to love my people. I'm also called to challenge my people and inspire my people. And so it's not just that it's my job to always be loving and always be supportive. It's my job to help people grow. And I have mentors that do the same. It's not like I'm exempt from that. I'm around people and I listen to people that help me grow as well. Growth is a lifetime journey, and hopefully we're all deepening in our spirituality. So what I try to do as a pastor is I have a general rule for myself. It's not always hard and fast, but generally when I'm speaking with somebody individually, I try to be as kind and supportive as possible. Now that again isn't always the case. I might not have had enough sleep and I might not have had my coffee. I'm just a person too. So I might not always be as kind and loving as I would want to be or hope to be, but that's my goal. I'm trying to be as kind and supportive and loving. I'm not going to call people out on their sins anymore that I want other people to call me out. That's just not the place to do it. But when I'm in a more public forum, like social media, like preaching, like teaching, when I can speak to a crowd, then I might say something more challenging because I'm not calling out individuals personally. I'm not saying, hey, I'm talking to you and you need to change, because that's just a little offensive. But I might say big sweeping things, big challenges in my sermon about, maybe moving in a certain direction or other. Now, people can take that on as something that's helpful or something that's not. That's completely up to them and the Holy Spirit. But I'm always challenging myself to use my voice and to use it with courage, to use it to love and to be kind, and to also use it to inspire, to challenge, and to help people grow to the next level as I'm trying to grow to the next level as well. I want you to know that there are going to be those times where it's going to be hard to use your voice. I understand that. Sometimes you're going to have to stand up for what is right, even when you're standing alone. Sometimes you're going to have to speak, even when your voice is shaky. I completely get that because I live that on a daily basis. I live that. I'm constantly using my voice outside of my comfort zone more and more and more all the time. I want you to know you're not alone when you do that, because you can feel alone. And I want you to know that you're not. First of all, God is with you, and God gave you that voice and is whispering particular thoughts in your ear that the world needs to hear. And other people are hearing other thoughts from God, but you're hearing your message and we need it. So you're not alone because God's with you. And secondly, I want you to envision when you're in those places that I'm with you, because I so support this. I so support you needing to speak with courage in a world that's not always welcoming to voices, particularly those voices that are different from what the crowd is thinking. I want you to know that I am your friend and I'm your spiritual partner, and I am holding you in my prayers and in my thoughts. You can literally reach out to me if you want more specific support, but just know that I'm with you. And if it helps to imagine that, then please do, because I really mean it. I really mean that I am with you and backing you up in that ever-present task of having courage to use your own voice. Thanks for hearing this. Please send it to somebody if you think it might be helpful. Subscribe to our channel, please. And just know that you got a lot of friends. You got a lot of support and people who want to hear from you and who need it. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.